Hello everyone, Mrs. Cross here with a recap of the learning in maths that we did last week. Mrs. Corrigan talked to us about halving. Can you remember what halving is? Halving is when we share something into two equal parts. This is Griff and Frankie, and in front of them are 6 beads. I'm going to share them equally between the two of them. Have a look. One for Griff, one for Frankie. One for Griff, one for Frankie, one for Griff, one for Frankie. I've shared all the beads. Now I'm going to check to make sure I've done it into 2 equal parts. Griff has 1, 2, 3 beads and Frankie has 1, 2, 3 beads. They've both got the same amount of beads. I've shared them into 2 equal parts. They have half the beads each. Last week, Mrs. Corrigan showed us how to use a grid and a part whole to help us solve our halving problems. Let's remind ourselves how to use the grid. Here is my grid and I have 4 beads to share. So let's put a bead in that box and a bead in that box. And then a bead there and a bead there. So I've shared all 4 beads between the 2 columns of my grid. So now I can work out what half of 4 is by looking at one side of the grid. So half of 4 equals 2. The final strategy was the part whole. Let's remind ourselves how to use one of those. I want to work out what half of 8 is. I have put 8 beads into the top circle up here. That's the whole number of beads, 8 beads. And I'm going to share them equally into 2 parts. Let's give it a go. 1 in that one into that, there, and there, there, and there, there, and there. And I can work out what half of 8 is by looking at just one part and counting. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've worked out that half of 8 equals 4. To check my answer, I can make sure that I also have 4 beads in the other part. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's time for your challenge. Here are some halving problems for you to solve. Have fun.